We are here at the O.P. Jindal Global University, where the theme is online education towards Viksit Bharat. Joining us here is the entrepreneur and the co-founder of UpGrad, Mr. Ronnie Screwvala. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity at NDTV Profit. I'd like to understand, sir, UpGrad largely focuses heavily on, upskilling higher education. How do you see this segment, growing compared to K-12, or other test preparations that, kids do?
These sectors have to be looked at because they're very important for the development of the country. So I think this versus one sector versus the other always becomes a much more profit or not-for-profit discussion, with no pun intended. I think the higher education space is divided into two parts, really. I think one is to sort of solve the fact that almost 75% of our people haven't gone through the right education sometimes, or the formal education. So that segment needs to be catered to. The second one is everyone who wants to go for forever learning. You want to constantly upskill and you want to go there. And the third one is where the job enablement takes place. So to me, that's the largest really segment. K-12 as school is a calendared event for everybody. So anyone getting into that space has always been about augmented learning, which is important, but it's not. And then there's in India, we have this whole test prep segment, right? Which is very unique to anywhere else in the world. If you go anywhere else in the world and you say, I need to learn and get tutored to get into a university, that's quite a shocking element. So the higher education space is really the single largest segment, and that's the one that influences either in formal education, lifelong education, or job and skilling for you to be able to get into the workforce in some form or the other. The last one, I think, which is important, is that there are almost 200 million people in the workforce that now need to get retained. So corporates are now getting into with the right attention. Of course, people used to always hire people, find them not ready for their jobs, send them off for 3 months of training. That entire part is also changing. Okay.
So, with the rise in AI and automation, how do you, at UpGrad are adapting, to new curriculums to meet the future workforce demand?
We were doing machine learning and all of those courses almost 5 years back. So I think the rhetoric on AI is much higher in the last 1 year, but I think our adoption to that in our learning experience. So I think 3 ways we kind of look at it. One is, how do we train people and how do we make them to the workforce? So how do we have courses specifically that are on machine learning, AI, and many
Correct.
others? So there we're looking at the long courses and the short courses, because today I think everyone is actually foxed with the whole segment. So the basic learning today is going to be more important. Hundreds of millions of people have to be aware of what AI is, so they don't look at it as a threat. Because when you look at it as a threat, you approach it differently. Second is, how do we improve our own learning experience internally to be able to use AI to do that? And I think the third part is really, when you're opening up this market, not everyone realizes they need to upskill themselves in their career, but not everyone wants to take that decision.
Right.
You want to be at a different crossroad in your life. So I think the element of how do we actually use coaching, training, counseling to be able to bring people to understand that forever learning is here to stay. These are the 3 broad segments. And I'd say the last one is there's a lot of innovation going on here.
True.
So I think the whole segment that we are in today of skilling, workforce development, forever learning, not ed tech because that's a bad word, is somewhere where you need disruption. And I think AI is ripe to disrupt the sector.
Okay. So you spoke of forever learning. I wanted to understand, how do you differentiate UpGrad, from other courses, from other players like, Coursera or edX, these global players?
Well, firstly, I'm a student of forever learning. I'm a student of soft skills and I'm a student of forever learning. So I think that is the basic segment. Today, I think comparison on companies, different people have actually opened up the market. In fact, my sense is we don't have too many organizations at scale that are actually opening up the market and making people aware. So I think Coursera started with an incredible foundation of short courses. Then they went to the degrees programs. They have a very strong subscriber base. But they look at it as being a catalyst with universities. We have started from day one by controlling the learning experience. We want to be participative with our universities and even in our non-university courses for us to be part of actually making online as good as offline, if not better. And the only way I would say what UpGrad differentiates is our peer-to-peer learning is very strong. So faculty learning, industry learning is very strong, but peer-to-peer learning completes the picture.
Correct, correct. I also wanted to understand, you spoke of online and offline learning. There are still a lot of cities in India that have not adapted to online learning. How do you as UpGrad, plan to penetrate in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities? And
So
what are the
we
challenges?
already have about 19 learning centers. We have our own university in Mumbai. So there is a certain sense of omni that's coming in. But the only thing I would say is this is not a shortcut approach.
Okay.
The learning experience has to be fully online if you're starting one. Because if you're looking for a hybrid, then it breaks the cycle. Because when I go offline, I can't guarantee the same learning experience, the same faculty in multiple cities. So there's a certain part that needs to be completely online. There's a certain part that you can do more offline with a little bit of online. And I think the omni model will stay.
Okay, and on UpGrad's growth strategy in terms of that, are there any international expansion plans on cards?
Well, look, we're outside of India, we're already very active in Southeast Asia. I mean, Vietnam for us is a pretty large market. We have multiple learners there, and so many parts of Southeast Asia. I think the three international pockets for us is Southeast Asia, Middle East, and the US.
Okay, okay. And so I also wanted to ask, you've successfully launched many companies, across media, sports, and, even education now. What I wanted to understand, what are the common traits do you think, are there, in terms of entering or launching such new ventures?
There's never a common trait. I think that's the most important part. Okay. Why would one look for common traits? I mean, the common traits is in a sense where you feel there's a market ready for disruption. But it depends on the entrepreneur, depends on the founder, depends on the team you're building, depends on your vision, depends on your ambition. So I think for me, the sectors that I think are important to build brand, deeply understand the consumer, have a good sense where I can preempt what the careers of tomorrow are, and build an organization at scale, because not many people can scale. I think those are the inputs that one brings to the table. Outside of that, each one is a very, very unique way in which you want to process it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was Ronnie Screwvala giving us whole insights on UpGrad, education, and much more. Thank you so much.